The Lord wants all his children to partake of the eternal blessings available in his temple. He has directed what each person must do to qualify to enter his holy house. All requirements to enter the temple relate to personal holiness. To assess that readiness, each person who wants to enjoy the blessings of the temple will have 2 interviews. First, with a bishop, bishopric counselor, or branch president. Second, with a stake or mission president or one of his counselors. In those interviews, several questions will be asked. Some of those questions have recently been edited for clarity. I would like to review them for you now. Are you a full tithe payer?
For many years, the Mormon Church has been stockpiling $1 to $2 billion of surplus tithing into a reserve of the reserves inside a 501c3 nonprofit called Ensign Peak Advisors. This year, 2019, Ensign Peak Advisors grew past $100 billion in market-based, non-real estate allocated capital with approximately $44 billion in U.S. stocks, $12 billion more internationally, $27 billion in bonds, $6 billion in private equity, $10 billion in hybrid instruments, $3 billion in portfolio cash, and another $4 billion in treasury cash. These investments have been producing annual returns of close to 7%. That means that Ensign Peak Advisors grows by $7 billion each year from capital gains, dividends, interest, etc., plus another $1 to $2 billion each year from excess tithing. All church operations consume between $5 and $6 billion per year of tithing. It is officially, finally true that the Mormon Church could tell every member in the world to completely stop paying tithing now and forever, and it could continue to fund every current program in full without drawing down on the reserves. In other words, Ensign Peak Advisors would continue to grow. This is true in large part because, as a 501c3, Ensign Peak Advisors has enjoyed a tax-exempt status. It has garnered about $20 billion in tax breaks in total from the American public. All 501c3s, regardless of their classification or type, have an expectation of doing something religious, educational, or charitable, something in the public good, with their assets from time to time. Ensign Peak Advisors has never spent even one dime on anything religious, educational, or charitable in 22 years since it was incorporated in September 1997, which is 1 month after Times Magazine wrote its cover story entitled Mormons, Inc., exposing some of the Mormon Church's assets at the time. Ensign Peak Advisors has no tax-exempt purpose. It has literally no liability stream, no calls for capital, and no plans for using the money at all. The mandate given by the First Presidency and the presiding bishopric is to only focus on financial growth. EPA employees are told that the money will be used after the second coming of Jesus Christ or during Armageddon right before he would come again. The IRS would not view these as legitimate tax-exempt purposes.
For the first time, we have an idea now of how much the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Big Investment Fund performed over the course of a year.
That fund is called Ensign Peak Advisors, and Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle found the public document showing how many billions of dollars it gained in 2020.
Over the last year, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been more forthcoming about how it's investing tithing money. This latest filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission shows that despite the economic downturn of the pandemic, the church's big investment fund made money. This filing with the SEC shows the holdings of Ensign Peak Advisors at the end of 2020. When added all up, it shows the fund gained more than $6 billion in one of the most difficult financial years in American history.
Today, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is responding to a lawsuit filed by a member of the Huntsman family who's accusing the church of fraud.
The lawsuit comes roughly a year and a half after a whistleblower revealed the church has amassed a $100 billion investment fund based largely on excess tithing.
Fox 13 Spencer Joseph joins us with details of the lawsuit as well as reaction. Spencer.
Yeah, and here is that lawsuit. It was filed by James Huntsman, son of John Huntsman Sr. He claims that he should be awarded $5 million for the church perpetrating a fraud because of his tithings. The church is firing back today, calling that claim baseless.
We're learning that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is facing accusations of tax evasion in Australia. The accusations come from an investigation by two Australian publications, the Sunday Age and the Sun Herald. Now, they say some of the church's tax activities in the country are run through what they call a shell company with no paid employees that could be a breach of Australian tax law.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints owns over 1.7 million acres, making it the fifth largest landowner privately in the nation.
Through federal filings, we confirmed the numbers on 12 funds, each with more than one web domain owned by the LDS Church. The funds control about $31.9 billion in investments.